It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda business starts here. Welcome to Mind Your Business. I'm Jamillah Lodge. I'm host of the show, and we go way back.
We do.
I met you as talent.
Yes.
And now here you are as TJ Clark, owner of Rugged Rentals. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk a little bit about your journey. But before we do that, I want you to tell me about yourself.
Sure. TJ Clark, owner and operator, co-founder of Rugged Rentals, mini electric vehicle rental company on the island. Okay. And we've been established since my birthday, August 5th.
Okay.
2019.
All right. What a nice birthday present to yourself.
Absolutely.
So how has it been? Because I was like, on the cusp of the pandemic? Like, how did that go?
How long we got?
Right. 30 minutes.
Exactly. I know. We can extend it. But yeah, I mean, it was, from the beginning to try and get this business established because we needed a law to be changed. And that took 7 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then as soon as we hit the ground running, August 2019, March 2020, the pandemic hit, right? And we were literally in the like, oh my God, this business is so great and everything's going exactly how we planned. And then shut down the airport. Nobody's allowed into the country, coming or going. And yes, every business depends on people to thrive and survive. But when your business is people movement,
yes,
and when the government restricts people movement, whether you're catching the bus, taxi, or being outside of your house, period, we made the decision to donate all of our cars. At the time it was Hummers, all of our Hummers to rest homes. Yeah. Because we didn't understand that 90% of the nurses in nursing homes
use public transportation.
And so remember there was restrictions that you couldn't go to the grocery store unless your last name began with this.
That's right.
Right. So we donated, at the time we only had 7 cars, we donated all of our cars to nursing homes. And that allowed nurses to either go home or go to work and also grocery shop for the nursing home.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think for you, from a business perspective, that also allowed you to get your name out there. And so people are like, remember them. And so once it opened up again and you were able to rent, then like who are they going to call if they needed something, right?
That was the hope, absolutely. But there were little, I like to call them speed bumps.
Of course.
In the process of the business journey.
Yeah.
We started to experience issues with that specific type of car, the electric Hummer. And then we needed to switch or transition to a different type of car.
Okay.
That we have now.
Okay. I was going to ask you about that. Like, how do you determine, like, first of all, what vehicles are in the fleet? And then how do you determine which vehicles to have?
Sure. So when we were first coming up with the business idea, we wanted to have side-by-side.
Yes.
Right? And so the Hummers, they came across our research. We even flew to China to test the cars. But unfortunately, those same cars that we tested, they weren't the cars that actually made it to the island. Because during COVID,
they had the production
British,
and all that.
The British engineers that were based in China in charge of quality assurance, they had to depart China by law. They had to leave China. And so quality assurance went out the door.
Yeah.
We were texting the British engineers, hey, this is a problem. They were texting us their solutions. Their solutions weren't working until they arrived to Bermuda, started taking apart the cars, and they're like, oh, well, this part doesn't come from our distributor. This part doesn't come from our distributor. So there was a lapse in everything with regards to quality assurance. So we had to pull away from those vehicles, and now we have a new vehicle which we call the Gem.
The Gem. That's cute.
Absolutely. And they are doing really well.
Okay.
Really well.
So your primary service offering is renting the vehicles.
Absolutely.
So you have the gym, and they're available to rent all throughout the island. Can you talk a little bit about your distribution points and how you kind of
Sure.
arrived at them?
Yeah. So we were just starting out business in the business world, and we wanted to be in EEZ.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And EEZ is because of the payroll tax benefits, and obviously going through BEDC, we understood what those benefits were, and so we couldn't find anything centrally because central would be the best position to start a new business.
Right.
Essentially located east or west, come to Hamilton and then get a car.
Right.
Couldn't find anything, unfortunately. So we then looked to the outskirts. Somerset Easy and St. George's Easy.
Right.
And we came across a piece of property, Tiger Bay parking lot, that was available. I remember growing up and seeing a rental bike company.
Place there.
Yep. And I was like, oh, well, maybe it could have rental cars
Yeah,
there now.
yeah.
And thankfully, Corporation St. George's agreed. And we were able to secure a lease for that area. And yeah, they've been open to us being established there.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But you rent, that's your primary location.
Primary and our only location.
Okay.
We do provide delivery for the vehicles across the island. It is on a case-by-case basis because staffing has been an issue. But if the reservation is booked in enough time, then we can plan out how our staffing and our schedule looks. Our delivery is between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Yeah.
So don't expect a 9 a.m. reservation to be delivered at 9 a.m.
Right.
From St. George's to Somerset.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
And what I tend to do is I tend to either email or call the customer when they make the reservation to say, hey, look, we just got your reservation, but please note, because of your distance away from our location, we will let you know that we may be there 11, 12 o'clock, as long as you don't have anywhere to be in a specific time.
Yeah.
We want to make them comfortable to let them know that, hey, this
But
is the
that's
time
pretty
that
cool,
we'll be there.
though, because it didn't dawn on me. I was looking at the site and everything. But that makes sense because, Tiger Bay, it's not central.
It's not.
And so if you're staying central and you want to rent one of your vehicles, to have the service offering of delivery, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And because we are only a 10-minute taxi ride or ride away from the airport,
Right.
what we tend to tell customers is, look, why not just come directly from the airport? Oh, and their first thing out their mouth is, oh, but we got luggage. Have no fear. Our cars can actually fit 7 pieces of luggage.
No way.
Yeah. We actually have a video on our Instagram showing a clip of how much luggage we can actually chuck in the back.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Because a lot of people have the misconception. They see a small car and they're like, oh, I don't know if my luggage will fit, so we'll go and drop off the luggage first and then come back.
Yeah.
Or if you can deliver it. And we're just like, look, we understand your thought process behind it. We understand your fear. Your luggage will fit.
Right.
And I asked them, do you have Instagram? Yeah, we have Instagram. Okay, well, look us up. And it's the 5th post to go. So look back 5 videos and you will see us
put in the luggage in them. That's wicked. I didn't know that. Because you think electric car, tiny, no trunk space, that sort of thing. So that that's a huge differentiating factor.
Sure.
So let me ask you about your journey, though.
Okay.
So have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I never had a title or an understanding of like the entrepreneurial journey.
Okay.
It was always about me finding a solution to a problem, right? And at the time, it was when I came up with the concept, we were experiencing 1 death per visitor on a moped per year, right? And so it was like, well, why don't we rent cars?
Yeah.
Why can't we rent cars?
Right.
What's the process? Oh, who do I need to talk to? Do I need to start making meetings? Oh, government, there needs to be a law changed? Okay, where do I start? TCD, right? And so it was just that process of learning what needed to be changed, what needed to be done in order to get that process going.
Yeah.
And then sitting down with the ministers, with the permanent secretaries, with the directors of TCD, with whoever I needed to listen to me about my idea, because it's going to be saving lives. So
Right.
it was always a solution based
Right.
process, not necessarily I need to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
That never really came to mind, but it was always how do we save lives and what would be more comfortable and convenient to those customers
Who come
visiting
visit Bermuda,
right?
yeah.
Because there's always two aspects. It's one, more than likely they're learning how to ride a moped in the island, and then two, learning the left-hand side
Yes.
of the road,
Right.
right? And so we understand the left-hand side of the road, but if they don't have to learn how to drive a car because
Yeah.
they already have a driving license,
Yes.
then let's take that out of the picture,
Right.
and just only have them learning the
About
left-hand
the
side
left,
of the road,
right.
which isn't that difficult.
Right.
A lot of customers return a car and say, hey, I was very anxious or nervous about the left-hand side of the road, but your tutorial helped me. And, you know, after 5-10 minutes of
You
driving,
get used to it.
you're
It's
just
like,
following traffic.
Yes.
That's all you're doing. And so it's having that ease and comfort of the customer returning and saying, you know what, you were right.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I love that, because I do think that entrepreneurs are the world's problem solvers, right?
Correct.
A lot of the things that we have now is usually a response to someone saying, you know what, I am so sick of this, let me fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we need that type of energy, we need that type of mindset.
Sure.
So is that something that you always had when you growing up, or like did you have family that maybe had their own businesses? Like where did that come from?
It was always an idea, right? So in school, it was, well, what did you want to be? What do you want to be? You want to be a police officer?
Yeah.
Or you want to be a businessman? Or you want to be this? And it was just like, I remember as a young kid, I want to be rich and famous.
Doing what?
Like,
TJ,
exactly.
doing what?
Exactly. That question was was posed to me, and I was like, right? So growing up, you know, to become rich or wealthy,
Yeah.
it's three ways, right? It's either inheritance, it's investments, or being an entrepreneur, starting your own business. Well, if that was the way to go, then what do I need to do in order to get there?
Right.
And so, yeah, it was always the case of finding a solution that Bermuda needed
Yeah.
in order to fix the problem that they had. One of the problems that they had.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, that's a different show. Okay, so let's talk about where we are now, how business is going, and like your plans for your business.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Right now it's going really well. When I was talking about having issues with the Hummers, we were in this kind of post-COVID or during COVID. It was the middle period of COVID where we still had some restrictions on the island, but we were starting to open up, right? The grocery store restriction was removed, but you still had to wear masks, and you still couldn't congregate in parties, but they were still letting travelers in that had to quarantine. Like, it was this whole rigmarole. And so at that point, there was a CEO of a business that we actually get our cars from now.
Okay.
He was coming to the island. He saw our cars at the time, the Hummers, and he was like, "Hey, I want to rent a car." And I had to tell him, "Sorry, we're not renting them. We had to reduce our rental period from 24 hours to only 9 to 5." In order for them not to have a bad customer experience.
Right.
Right? And he was like, "Oh, okay, well, sad to hear. But this is my name, and I'd love to take you to lunch to talk to you about my business." And at that time, I was, you know, a little bit hesitant because not fully knowing what his
intentions and all that. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, you know, talking to my business partner, he's like, "Yeah, why not just go to lunch?" Okay, let's go to lunch. Went to lunch. He introduced himself. This is who he is. This is what he has. And these are the cars. Okay, thank you. And hearing that they were produced in China actually was a barrier
I'm
for
sure.
me to get over.
Yeah.
Right? Just having the experience from previous. And it was like, whoa, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. But he says that, well, he said that he would take care of us when we get to his country.
Right.
He'll take care of us. Transportation, you have the hotel, but we'll take care of everything you need. Transportation, come visit the car, see the car, test drive the car in any condition you want. And so went down, visited him, and he said and did everything that he said that
He
was
would
going
do.
to, right?
Okay.
And then when I test drove the car, I actually drove up a mountain.
Okay. Well, there you go.
and discovering that this was an actually different type of vehicle. It had me taking videos while driving, right? And
Yeah.
saying, oh wow, I'm actually accelerating going up this mountain. That's strange. Normally I'm used to the power leaving the
Waning,
vehicle,
right.
And then I was sold enough to get 2 test vehicles to Bermuda.
Okay.
Because even though that was a mountain, I wanted to see what it was like in Bermuda too.
Right. Of course.
And Bermuda's weather conditions.
Yes,
And
yes.
Bermuda's, salt weather, air, and etc. And got those here and tested them. And like the day that we got them licensed was the day that we had like complete and utter downpours. And that was important for us
To see how they fared.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So literally driving through puddles and wanting to get, the ins and outs. If it broke down, then good. We wanted to get that failure point to see, okay, well, maybe we can't do this, but we should be doing this. And they passed the test here.
Okay.
Right? So it was a success enough to then order 24 more cars for this year, the following year. And it's been going great ever since.
You know what I want to focus on out of that story is the opportunity, right? So you met this guy, he wanted to rent a car, couldn't rent the car, and he was like, look, let me holler at you, basically. And you said, well, I don't know what you're saying.
Right. Basically.
But I think like your business partner was like, why not?
Why not?
Let's just.
It's a free lunch if that.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that is key.
Yeah.
Right. I think that is key for entrepreneurial success. You can start a business, but I think the important part is recognizing the opportunity and then seizing it.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that lunch basically changed the trajectory of
did.
Rugged Rentals.
It did because exactly. Well, that lunch and then even my business partner saying, well, why not go to this country and see how the cars look? Like, at the very worst, you could say no.
Right.
You're not stuck in getting the car. So why not? And it was just like, but right? So you still have this
because of your experience, right? So you're like, been down that road, burn me once, I'm not gonna put my hand on the stove again.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it was just, having the ability to look beyond what we have been experiencing and also knowing how far we've come with the business. From the early onset of the idea of renting cars in Bermuda, no matter who said no and no matter what barrier was placed in front of us, to absolutely go through all of that and then come out on the other end where we got the law passed, where we were able to get cars here and then start a whole new industry in Bermuda, was then...
That was y'all? No.
Yeah. It
y'all
was
did
some of us. But to get past all that and then to let this little issue or problem get in our way wasn't the be-all, end-all.
So you bring up another point, right? Because you mentioned 7 years and laws changing and all that stuff, and working in this environment as a Quango and understanding what that looks like and what's required to be able to do that. It was definitely a long haul. Sure. So when you talk about like perseverance, what was the thing that kept you moving forward? Because so many people, so many entrepreneurs that I've spoken with have been like, because of all of these roadblocks and red tape, I just said, forget about it, and got a regular 9 to 5.
Right.
So what made you stick to the wicket?
For lack of better terms, I want to say ignorance.
Okay.
Right? It was, we could have, at so many points through our journey, we could have taken any no from any higher up civil service, any executive, any director, anybody that could potentially block this journey, and we could have said, you know what, too difficult.
Never
Time
mind.
to go home.
Yeah.
Right? But we continued on the path. Right? No matter what, no. So I
But
remember.
why? What was it?
I want to see progress.
Yeah.
Right? And this was a solution that Bermuda needed.
Needed.
Right?
So despite all that, you was like, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who do I need to speak to?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to go to that meeting, and hopefully they, every part of it, even though there were no's, there was like, oh my God, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But.
Yes.
But.
Yes.
And it was just like, okay, but what? But we need to rewrite this law, and we need. Okay, well that's not my issue. That's your issue.
Right.
You can rewrite the law.
Yeah.
And call me when it's done. Right.
And, I'm gonna work on this over here, so I'll be ready.
That's it. That's it. Right. And it was, we were working with, at the time it was the original PLP.
Yeah.
And then they went to a general election and they lost that general election. So all our networks and contacts that we had been meeting with, they left.
Changed. Yes. Like, we got to start all over.
Okay. Well, my name's TJ.
Right.
Nice to meet you. This is my idea. Let's go with it again.
Yeah.
And so, thankfully the law was eventually passed. And then the OBA, they passed the law December 2016, but then 2017 happened and they lost that general election. So it was like, what next? Okay, at least we have this law.
Yeah.
At least we have the law. Okay. Now, how do we get cars here?
Yes.
How do we look, or who do we look to in order to get an investor? Because I was working at the bank at the time, and I went to the bank and asked for a loan because this was a great idea.
Yeah.
The law passed. I
Yeah.
helped that law passed. And what else do we need? Here I am. I'm your employee. You can trust me.
Yeah.
But they didn't have anything to go by because it was a new
No
business.
precedent. Yeah.
There was.
And
did I have any comparables?
Yeah.
No, I didn't have any comparables. No, I didn't. So, sorry, we're not going to loan you money. I was like, oh, okay. Well, who, how, when?
Yeah.
Right? And it was all about networking. I was introduced to the person who brought the Bermuda Infrastructure Fund to the island, and I was introduced to the portfolio managers of the Infrastructure Fund. And thankfully, they absolutely loved the idea, and they invested in our business. Right? So, yeah, to say, well, why? It's because at every single opportunity that we received a barrier, for somehow, some way, there was always a transition to the next level.
Right.
Right. And so, for me to actually get the introduction to the Bermuda Infrastructure Fund, it was like, oh, we in.
Yeah.
Even though I hadn't met nobody yet,
right,
knowing that I had a meeting planned,
right.
there was no way for them to stop this idea.
Yeah.
Because for me to get a meeting
meant that there was
exactly meant that I won. Like in my mind,
I love
that was
that.
my mindset that I won. That there was no stopping it.
Yeah.
So I was like, we got the hard part passed. We got the law passed. That was 7 years. Now I just need to pitch and convince these investors to invest into our idea.
Right.
And that didn't take much.
Right.
They saw what our numbers were. They saw that what our projections were like. And even though we didn't have any comps to put it against, because who were we going to get comps from? Rental moped?
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen.
Right.
So these are our projections, and we had to. At first, they were fantasy numbers.
Yes.
Oh my God, we're gonna make X millions of dollars.
We're gonna be billionaires.
Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna be. And here's the idea. And like, no, let's cut that back.
Yes, let's be conservative.
Correct. Like, what ifs, right?
Yeah.
You have to think about that. So I cut the numbers down completely by more than 50%. So the projections were still working for the investors to absolutely look at and say, yeah, you know what, we still want to invest in it.
Yeah.
So,
Good deal. I mean, I agree with you. It's definitely something that I think the island needed, Bermuda needed, creates another opportunity, because some people want the moped experience because they've never done it.
Sure.
But then some people are like, absolutely not. I remember my friends came to visit, and it was, I think, Oleander Cycles right up the street going towards Southampton.
Yep.
And They did the little test run. Dude ran into the bushes. It was like, we will not be doing that, right? And so to have that alternative now, is definitely something that we needed. It elevates our tourism product, if you will.
It does.
And so understanding that it was a long, hard road for you to get the laws changed, but the way you thought about the challenges, like, yeah, I heard what you said. Like, you always said, but you also said it was a great idea.
Correct.
And that's what you focused on, you know, and that kind of was what propelled you to continue to move forward. And I think that's so important because you hear no way more times than you hear yes, especially here. I swear, I'm like, were laws created to stop business from, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on here?
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I felt like the bad kid going to the principal's office every time when I had to go to these meetings. Yeah. And I was like, well, TJ, you did well. But what? Well, we can't do that. But this, but that. And I was just like walking back to my office at work with my backpack on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to try and get past this, right? And so, yeah, it was a long journey, but thankful that I stuck.
You came out on the other end. So you said you were a banker, and now you're Rugged Rentals, full-time, 100%.
Ever since the business started.
Okay.
Yeah, left the bank 2019, July 2019, August started with Rugged Rentals,
This dude is like jumping out of airplanes. He's like, we doing it?
Yeah, we got to, because remember, that journey was a long journey, and then for investors to
say yes, they took the
and from not knowing who we are, right? They could have given us money and could have bounced to a different. Not to say that I would do that, but they didn't know us,
right?
For them to take trust in us, and then for it to be a new industry, I had to take that leap of faith. They're like, when they were giving us the money, they're like, okay, well. So, talking to my business partner, are you going to leave your job or are you going to leave your job?
Somebody got to,
Somebody who's going to be running the business. Are you going to hire employees to run the business while you guys are working? And I had to say, no, I will run the business. It was
and you know what? That's a good point. So we recently we've been having these pitch competitions, and of course we would love to see a full-fledged like investor kind of opportunity happen for other startups in Bermuda. And so in speaking with investors, and one of the things they're always asking is like, who is in it? Like, we're not really trying to invest in someone who's has other priorities, right? We want this to be your full-time priority because we want a return on our investment. Exactly. We're giving you the money, not to have, but with the expectation that we're going to get some money plus, what we gave you. So I think that's an important piece for people to hear, because when investment is different than debt, right? Debt, that's money that's being lent. You pay it back.
Correct.
Right? And as long as you pay it back, we're all good. Investment is like a leap of faith in some, some would say, because they're trusting that you, who I don't know, who I just met, is going to take this idea, which is great, and actually turn it into a profitable business.
That's it, right? And just to put in a side note, so even though the investors invested into us, it came as a form of financing. So it is debt related.
Okay.
Right? So, they wanted a return on their investment, which is in the form of a loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, there's different financial vehicles,
absolutely.
but the primary, I think, issue is that we need to feel confident that there's gonna be somebody here that's gonna be able to.
You gave us this idea. We need you to
make it work, because we're not gonna do it.
Exactly. We don't want you to hire someone with your idea to then execute something that we didn't invest in.
Right. We invested in you basically,
exactly.
And
that's what they said.
That is
what they said.
A lot of investors will do that. They will be like, I don't know. It could be any idea. And we had, we just did a pitch boot camp, and one of the investors, Stephen McCartney, he said that he was like, investors, you could have the best idea and have a bad like CEO or founder, and it won't go anywhere.
Exactly.
But you can have a brilliant founder and a bad idea, and
Correct.
they can make it happen.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times investors invest in the individual,
Correct.
right? Because like you said, they're just meeting you. They don't know, but they're looking
Right.
at you and sizing you up and determining whether or not you actually going to get it done.
Sure.
And you had 7 years under your belt.
That's it.
You was like,
That was
I
really
changed the law.
Exactly.
Not many
Exactly.
people can say that though.
Yeah. Have you had a meeting with any government officials? Well, let me tell you, right? So yeah, it was some of that at the board table.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the story that I have. Yeah, so I think they bought the story more than they bought the idea.
They were like, if he can do this, then he can do anything.
Yeah.
No, I think it's your story is an awesome story to hear. It's like you see the challenges, of which there were many, and then you come out on the other end having successfully gotten a law change, having gone through some cute vehicles, because them Hummers was cute that didn't work, to coming out on the other end, taking a risk and taking a chance, meeting this new person who provided the existing vehicles. Yep. And so what do you envision Rugged Rentals being in the future?
Sure. So we're actually in talks with more potential investors.
Okay.
Who are looking to expand our business, not just in Bermuda, but to other jurisdictions.
Okay.
But starting with Bermuda, we want to maximize our limit of licensed vehicles to 200.
Okay.
With the increased size in fleet, we'll be able to reduce our costs, because right now we're the most costly rental vehicle on the market. But that still doesn't stop people from renting.
Because they like the experience.
Yeah. We're the best according to other customers' feedback. But yeah, so we want to expand our fleet in Bermuda, and then eventually to the other jurisdictions as well. But with expanding in Bermuda, we have ideas to, we are the rental vehicle of choice for the PGA event.
Okay.
We started that last year, even though it was discussions when we had the Hummer, but then COVID happened and the PGA kind of went, sideways. So we are the official vehicle for there. We are in talks with some major hotels that want us to be there as well. They will remain nameless until the execution of the contract goes through. But so yeah, we want to definitely fulfill our licensed vehicles of 200 on the island, and then expand down to our southern sister islands.
I love that. Yeah. Well, listen, I can't wait to see it. I know it's gonna happen.
It will. It will.
I like it.
It will.
Speak it into existence, and it will be.
Exactly.
Listen, we minded our business today. Okay.
We absolutely did.
That's what we do. But no, I would love for you to come back and give me an update when some of these other things happen. Yeah. I have not been in one of your vehicles, so I know we need to fix that.
Absolutely.
Figure out how to fix that. Yeah, I do. Now I know,
now
TJ.
You know, exactly.
Now
Might even have to deliver it.
See, that's what happened. I was calling you and saying talent, and you was like, yeah,
Who?
no.
No upload talent. No upload talent. Sorry. He doesn't live here.
Terrible. Anyway, no, TJ, I really enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you for sharing some of your story. Sure. Hopefully it's going to inspire others, right? So. That perseverance, that mindset, and just recognizing that opportunity and seizing it, I think are key elements that came out of our discussion. Yeah. And then I'm just going to remind you that if you don't mind your business, who will? Who's going to do it?
That's just it.
Right?
Yes.
So, and you minded that business. Surely. I'll tell you that much.
Surely.
Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here.